I am Prasenjit Dwara, the director of the Asia Research Institute, and I want to very warmly welcome you to this inaugural event, which my institute and the university and the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at the National University of Singapore are very, very proud to host. But incidentally, I should sort of say that we are very sorry that several of our participants from the Philippines have not been able to make it because of the terrible storm Ramusan that has hit the Philippines. And so, but hopefully they'll be able to come in a day or two, and we can still meet them and talk to them and hear them. Now, this I'll just say a little bit about the event, and I'll be followed by the president of the AAS, the present president of the AAS, Professor Mrinalini Sinha, Mini, as she is known to all the maxis, but sorry, you have to bear with this low level of humor. But let me say that more than 3 years ago in Hawaii, I was attending the various presidents and ex-presidents and future presidents' party, and was chatting with my good friends there, especially my good friend at that time, who was president at that time, or going to be future president, Gail Hirschschatter and Bob Snow and others, and we were talking about how it would be a very good idea to have an AAS in Asia, and particularly, I mentioned, in Singapore. What I had seen was, it sort of came up in the discussion, and what I had noticed was in Hawaii, the extraordinary number, because Hawaii, as our friends from ICAS here will certainly remember very well, was when the International Conference of Asian Scholars was also held together with the AAS, and the ICAS folks also brought in a lot of people from Asia. And so just looking at the numbers, the additional numbers that attended that, partly because it was in Hawaii, which is halfway to parts of Asia, and we figured that this would actually means that there is a lot of people in Asia who would be very interested in joining the AAS. So I thought it was a very good idea to have it and to sort of push AAS to a new kind of global presence in Asia. And they listened and we talked carefully and deliberately. The AAS presidents are a very collegial team, and they deliberated for a while. Nobody made any rash decisions, but it happened remarkably fast. Within less than a year, they came back, and they came back with great zeal. So for this event. And all the various past, present, future, and future presidents came at different points of time to Singapore, and we had lots of meetings in the U.S. as well. And so I really, first of all, we need to thank them. And I'll just mention a few of the names. I'm sure depends on how far you want to go back in history, which is always a problem in history, of course. That is to say that Shiva Ramakrishnan, who was the president in those Hawaii days, I believe, or maybe, anyway. Gail Hirschschatter, whom I mentioned, Ted Bester, who is here. Gail is also here. Thongchai Vinichakul, who's also here. Mini, who you've heard about. And Bob Snow and others all really made it happen. Not only did they make it happen, they made it happen for a longer period than just this one event, because, perhaps others will talk about it, they also brought colleagues from Taiwan and Japan to take over the baton and have it in those places. So we're very happy about all this and the inauguration of this, the launching of it in Singapore. But of course, I need to thank, most of all, I've probably done the least work in this, but most of all, the Asia Research Institute staff. I think most of you have heard from or heard about. She's quite legendary. Has she disappeared? Valerie Yo, that's her job, to disappear whenever she's acknowledged. So I think Valerie Yo and her team, and I want to mention them all by name, is Sharon Ong, Jonathan Lee, then the rest, that's the events team. Then we have the rest of the staff who are all here, Charlene and I'm sorry, why am I forgetting? Christy and Selvi and Henry Kwan, your photographer here. He'll be be nice to him, otherwise he'll take unpleasant pictures of you and post them. So these folks have been just absolutely crucial. RE has a very well-renowned team of people who work for it and manage events, and they've really got the ISI, whatever, 1099 or whatever it's called. So I also have to thank the formally and also personally very much the various organizations and individuals that have made this event possible. The organizers are, of course, the Association for Asian Studies, the Asia Research Institute, our own RE, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at the National University of Singapore, the Office of the Deputy President of Research and Technology, who always produces a little resource when we need it here and then. We also have support from the Singapore Tourism Board, sort of sufficient to give us the aid of a professional management team to help with the tickets and the housing and so on. And also the Singapore Exhibition and Convention Bureau, which will allow you to see all the books being produced in this region and elsewhere. Then there is, of course, the organizing committee that did a lot of the real work. And from this we have, it's a very cosmopolitan committee formed from people, it includes Alan Hicken from the University of Michigan, Eric Thompson. Is Eric here? Or has he disappeared? Oh, there he is, sitting way at the back, as befitting the man who makes things happen from the back, right? From the back room. Justin McDaniel, anybody here? Most of the people are not here. Is Alan here? No. Okay. Huang Jian Li, the Deputy Director of, thank you, there you go, Jian Li, of RE. Michelle Lazar, not here, right? She left off, I think. I think she was replaced by Sun Sun Lim, right? There you go, of NUS. Valerie Yo, I've already mentioned. Bob Snow of AAS, the redoubtable Bob Snow. And Mini Sinha, who also did a lot of real work on the program committee and so on. The advisory committee, whose role was much more august and distant, starts with Gail Hershatter, Lynette Chua. Is she here? Not yet, it's raining. So Michael Feener, of course, who is up front, right here. And we'll be talking to you. Michael Pascal, he couldn't make it, right? Robbie Go from FASS, Deputy Dean there. Robin Jones from AAS. No. Shivi Shivaramakrishnan, who couldn't be here, Ted Bester, and Thongchai Vinichakul. And we also want to give special thanks to various people in NUS and in Singapore, Johannes Widodo and Kevin Tan, who will be leading several tours of the city, a legal tour, and Johannes, I think, will be doing an urban tour. He's an architect. So, and of course, the press people, Paul Kotoska and Peter Schoppert, whom I do not see. Oh, there you go. Okay, Paul. Okay, good. I just, since I've been given a lot of time, I won't take all of it, but I'll mention some statistics, and Minnie will give you a little more. When I saw the number of people in Hawaii, and I knew the extent to which people want to come to Singapore, I knew that we would get a very large number of people interested in coming here. And so we decided very early to keep, and we would not be able to handle it all. We don't have quite the secretariat that AAS has. And so we decided to limit it, to put the ceiling at 500 total. And we managed to stay more or less. We are at 505 now. Well, maybe 5 people cannot come from the Philippines, I don't know, but of course, so 5 people is a good margin. Now, we had over 350, 386 or so applications, and we could only accept about 100. Incidentally, that is so that it's really about 25% of the applications for panels were accepted. And I'm very pleased to note that most of the people who were accepted, most of the panels, I would say all of them that were accepted have been able to come, which is, I think, also a remarkable figure. And this then, so we have now 505 registered attendees, including panelists. 414 of you are regular registries. 68 are student registrations. I think that's a good figure. And you all come from 32 countries. And the professional organizers gave us a breakdown, and I'm not going to bore with you with every, but it's pretty much as you'd expect. Despite it being in Asia, the largest number of attendees are from Singapore, 109. USA is 93. We have many from Japan, is number 3, 52. Australia, 33. China, 25. Korea, 24, as you'd expect. India, 17. Hong Kong, 23, and so on. So, and we also have representation from Bhutan, 3, and various other small countries. We have from Latin America, we have one representative from Colombia, but nobody from Africa, I'm sorry to say. Hopefully the next one. There is an African Asian studies that that AAS is organizing, which should bring that area into our fold, right, Paul? Okay, so I think, how am I doing? I should be finished. I had some more lecture stuff and so on, but I won't tell you. I'll just give you a little more about, a little bit about NUS, since we are here, and first about the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, which is a very old, you can read about it in your brochure. It's a very old and big department and has quite a high standing in academic rankings, especially in Asia. But one of the most interesting things about FASS that you should know at this point is that FASS is actually launching, FASS is launching a comparative Asian studies PhD program as of August. So this would be, to my knowledge, the first really inter-Asian and comparative Asian program. And so it's very fitting that it happens the same year that AAS comes here. We have to think of ourselves as Asia more broadly, I think. RE, my own institute, we should say, is, I'll just give a brief introduction here. RE is one of the very few research institutes in Asia outside of Japan, outside of one or two or three in Japan maybe, that is not a think tank. That is, we are not writing government reports. Not that we are opposed to writing government reports. We would like to write them as well, but we also want to do our basic research. And so we are very happy to be in the position that we are in, although we understand that this depends on the continued generosity of the university, and it's a constantly precarious sort of thing. So if you know anybody who would like to contribute to the to the endowment that RE is creating, we would, or if you're interested yourself, you can certainly contribute to it. We have in RE several clusters, each of which is headed by a joint a joint FASS RE faculty member, a professor. And then we have senior research fellows, and postdocs. And we also have very large numbers of visiting scholars who typically come for 3 months, and we give them enough to keep body and soul together and a nice roof. So do think of us when you want to come in this direction. We have also several things that are planned for you to enjoy Singapore. These are individualized trips that you can sign up with, and if you want to find out more about Singapore, since the STB, or the Singapore Tourism Board, is a supporter of this program, I'm sure they have their representatives here. You can ply them with your questions about new water, if you want to see the state-of-the-art water treatment and desalination plants and so on, they'll, I'm sure, be pleased to show it to you. So I will now would like to invite Professor Manali Sinha from Michigan University, the incoming president, the present president, who will speak for the AAS side. Thank you.
Thank you, Prasenjit. After joking about my name, I feel I should be standing here in stilts and talking, but unfortunately I don't have that. I have the great privilege to welcome you on behalf of the Association of Asian Studies, the AAS, to this inaugural AAS-in-Asia conference. Founded in 1941, the AAS is a scholarly, non-political, non-profit professional association open to all persons interested in Asia. With over 8,000 members worldwide, representing all the regions and countries of Asia and all academic disciplines, the AAS is the largest organization of its kind. The AAS, which holds an annual conference in North America, has for a long time considered the possibility of holding an additional conference in Asia. And at the 2011 annual AAS conference in Hawaii that Professor Dwara mentioned, which was held jointly with the International Convention of Asian Scholars, ICAS, and which was attended by a larger than usual number of participants from Asia, it became clear to us that the time had come for the AAS to act on its desire to hold a conference in Asia. Accordingly, the outgoing AAS president at Hawaii, Professor Kalyan Krishnan Shivaramakrishnan, met with representatives of various Asian universities and foundations on the last day of the conference to lay the groundwork for a series of smaller conferences to be held initially on an experimental basis in Asia. The idea behind the AAS-in-Asia conference was to signal a new era in the production of knowledge and the practice of Asian studies, which is inclusive of those who see themselves as Asianists and those who use their disciplinary skills to research particular aspects or areas of Asia. This was in some sense an acknowledgement of the increasingly globalized context in which we work, whether in Asian or in non-Asian academic as well as non-academic settings. The AAS in this context has felt strongly the need for more than the sporadic or individual connections with academic institutions and professional networks in the region that we study. The AAS-in-Asia initiative is a step precisely in the direction of fostering greater and more sustained dialogues on the practices and protocols of our field in different Asian and non-Asian settings. We hope that in bringing together scholars from outside Asia with scholars and practitioners in Asia, we will spark off new and fruitful areas of collaboration. Our goal in organizing small and thematically focused conferences in Asia is to make it possible for more presenters from Asia, especially younger scholars, to be an important part of these ongoing collaborations. And we sincerely believe that all of us interested in Asia, whether we choose to organize our expertise under the label Asianist or not, have much to learn from such exchanges. The rubric for the first series of 3 AAS-in-Asia conferences, which includes this inaugural conference in Singapore and is to be followed by conferences in Taipei in 2015 and Kyoto in 2016, is fittingly Asia in Motion. Under this rubric, the broad theme chosen by the organizing committee of the Singapore conference is Heritage and Transformation. The choice of a broad theme such as Heritage and Transformation, whose potential I hope you will see is more than adequately realized in the program of this conference, was directed at involving humanists and social scientists, as well as people from the worlds of law, policy, civil society, journalism, and other professional fields in an ongoing conversation on the contours of Asian studies in our times. The AAS has been very fortunate in its partners, the Asia Research Institute and the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences of NUS, in bringing to you the first of the AAS-in-Asia conferences. The choice of Singapore to host the first conference was in many ways a very natural one. The experience and expertise that the Asia Research Institute and its parent institution, the NUS, whose avowed mission is to be a global university centered in Asia, brings to us, the experience and expertise, is simply unparalleled. And Singapore itself, of course, is not only at the crossroads of Asia, but is also a global hub linking many different parts of the world to Asia. And we have received ample confirmation of the selection of Singapore as host for the inaugural AAS conference since then. None more, perhaps, than the overwhelming response to our call for papers. And I'm repeating some of the information President gave us here. We received 328 panel proposals for only 50 originally planned panel sessions. The organizing committee was forced to increase the number of panel sessions to 80 to accommodate the demand. This still meant that only about 25%, still lower than the average acceptance rate at the annual AAS conferences, could be accepted for this conference. There are some 500 people accepted from about 30 different countries registered today. This is an extremely encouraging outcome that bodes well for not just the forthcoming conferences in Taipei and Kyoto, but also for the continuation of the AAS-in-Asia initiative beyond the 3-year experiment originally planned by the AAS. We are extremely grateful to our hosts in Singapore for setting the bar so high and for starting us out so strongly on this experiment. There are, of course, many people who have been involved with this initiative over the years and to whom we owe grateful thanks, including all the members of the several AAS boards over the years, about whom you've heard from Prasenjit, who have worked on this, as well as the many representatives of host and potential host institutions in Asia who have helped to make this idea come to pass. I will, however, and I know Prasenjit's done a more exhaustive job of thanking everyone by name, but I will mention a few individuals. These are Professor Shivaramakrishnan, former AAS president, who set the ball rolling, Professor Prasenjit Dwara himself of the Asia Research Institute, who expertly chaired the Singapore Organizing Committee, and his various colleagues, especially Professor Eric Thompson of the Department of Sociology at NUS, who had the Herculean task of chairing the program committee for the conference, and last but not least, the two stalwarts who provided a standard of efficiency and administrative oversight well above and beyond what could be expected, and these are Robert Snow, the Director of Outreach and Strategic Initiatives of the AAS, and Valerie Yeo, the Management Assistant Officer of the Asia Research Institute. Without them, we would not have had such a smoothly functioning operation. And thanks also to the Singapore Tourism Board, the Singapore Exhibition and Convention Bureau, and the Best Cities Global Alliance for their sponsorship for the conference. I hope you will agree with me that they have put together a very exciting few days of programming, and that you will join me in thanking them for all their work and their support. And I wish that the next few days prove especially rewarding for you, and I invite you to make the most of this opportunity. Thank you, and welcome.